everyone, and welcome to this broadcast of Guy, Fawkes, and Jamen. And at the moment, Guy and Jamen are in the San Juan Islands, in beautiful Roach Harbor. And Fawkes, where are you, Fawkes?
I am on the Amalfi coast of southern Italy.
How are you doing, Fawkes? How's everything going for you out there?
You had a travel day yesterday as well, did you not, Fawkes?
I had a travel day indeed from Rome down to the Amalfi coast, and it was something of a trial, but nothing compared to what we're facing as a species.
He's pointing out that it was a good day yesterday relative to the days ahead. Even though a lot of people in this culture, they have a bad travel experience, it's going to ruin their whole day.
Right, you complain about it and complain about it. Exactly. Right. Princess and the Pea.
Travel hell and all that.
Friday, May 12th, we were at Friday Harbor all day. We got set up in the morning with two big signs, the two big criminal drug cartel of the state of Washington signs, and of course San Juan Islands are part of the state of Washington. And Friday Harbor is the capital city, or like capital town of 2,000 or 3,000 folks. Kind of permanent residents, and then all the tourists in the summer on top of that. We chose to go to the San Juan Islands for reasons, not the least of which is that these are islands with a few thousand each, and as such, there is so much community. Everybody knows everything and going. If you're on San Juan Island, you're on San Juan, and you're not just going to drive off burial to some other town. So sense of community and connectedness, and therefore kind of a breeding ground, a natural breeding ground for collective intelligence. That's one of the reasons, and also because most people here have a really sense of ownership, so to speak, of the island. Thought it would be a great opportunity to message of criminal drug cartels and the imperative to get them out to a people who really have much more of a sense of place and ownership in that place than your average Washingtonian. Let's face it. Oh, stuff's going down in Seattle. Well, let the mayor and the city government deal with it. Let the police deal with that. That's not me. I can focus here on my little cell phone with my little whatever. I mean, the island experience, you saw a lot less people messing around with their cell phones and a lot more people just looking across Main Street and saying, "Hey, Bob," right? That's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a big moat between this island and the rest of humanity.
Exactly.
And I found that it didn't create insularity so much as it created community.
Absolutely. And we said, since we're taking on all the world's problems, let's start with the top of the list, which is abrupt climate change, leading directly to near-term human extinction. Let's address that. And that was, of course, a new topic for pretty much everyone.
And let's go back to how the day started.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember. He was not mean-spirited or obnoxious or even particularly authoritative.
Correct.
Approach.
Correct.
He said, you can't do that there. Rant and rave page. Several people commented, and all affirmatively, basically, that his comment was, you can't tell it's the first day of spring because there's robins or other birds here. It's because the first protesters show up. And comments that we were not the first protesters. Nobody pointed out that we weren't really protesting
right.
so much as we were trying to raise awareness.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
He told us right where to go. He said, you'll get a lot more attention. You go stand there in front of the drugstore, a block and a half up the street, up Spring Street. And so, he was just pointing out, you can't stand there, but you're going to get even more attention if you go stand over there. So that's the legal thing to do.
But when the topic shifted to abrupt climate change, their facial expressions really shifted. They're just like, whoa, I mean, much more serious. And that's the nature of the conversation of abrupt climate change leading to near-term human extinction. It's not an easy conversation. and no one has more experience with this by a long stretch than you guys.
Yeah, although I found people were willing to have a conversation. Of course, when you're hearing this for the first time, and all you've ever heard your entire life, your Al Gore style version of climate change, then of course, rather funny, to say the least. And also, you know, we've never going to imagine a world without humans. So we can imagine a world without humans. There's this wonderful book written by Alan Weisman a few years ago called A World Without Us. And he poses this thought experiment. What if humans disappeared overnight, basically? He starts in New York City, and immediately, basically Central Park takes over all of the New York City metropolitan area within a relatively short period of time, a few years, in that example. And then very thoughtful and book. But not many people are willing to read that book or have read that book, much less ponder their own demise. So it's a difficult conversation to have because we can't even imagine there not being you and me.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When we have this conversation between you and me, we imagine that we're not here. And it's just too hard to wrap our minds around. Let's let everybody else be gone.
Yeah.
So I can understand. I understand perfectly well. So that's where I want to finish. You know, it's so difficult to have this conversation because it's unimaginable. It's unimaginable, the demise of our own species. We just can't even imagine it. So it's difficult to talk about it. Of course it is.
Yeah.
And so I can understand why some people would just rather not have the conversation. You know, in many ways, I wish I hadn't started this conversation 15 years ago.
Really?
Well, yeah. I look at the cost. Everything. I feel like I should play a country song backwards. You know what happens when you play a country song backwards, right?
Yeah.
You get your dog back, you get your wife back, you get your job back, you get your truck back. All those things I've lost. Of course, I feel like Neo in the first film, The Matrix, when he goes up to Lawrence Fishburne and basically tries to negotiate. You know, at that point, he'd already taken the red pill, the reality pill, and he wants to undo it because he doesn't really want to know what's going on behind the scenes. He doesn't want the apocalyptic unveiling of the veil. He doesn't want to see what's behind it.
Right.
He's seen it.
Right.
It's horrible. And so Lawrence Fishburne says, I didn't tell you it would be easy. I only told you it would be the truth. Well, ignorance is bliss. I got to get me some.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, you just inspired me in the opposite direction. Just imagine, I'm on the university campus dressed as Darth Vader with the criminal drug cartel sign and all that, with the flyers that we're handing out that cover all the world's most daunting problems holistically through collective intelligence. And I'm handing out flyers with a little tiny Ziploc baggie, right, with a red pill inside, you know, the kind of the capsule where there's something inside there. And it could either be empty, but more fun would be to fill it with sugar, right? Or I guess to be more American, saccharin. But anyway, some sweetener, and you know, so it's totally, you know, benign.
Right.
And but there I am passing out drugs. Red Square.
Right.
The police are going to come. People are going to come. You know, mothers are going to come. And I'm just going to say, it's just sugar inside there. Now, sugar is a drug, so, you know, enjoy the drug.
Right.
Damn it, I think I will hand out red pills. I mean, is there something wrong with handing out plastic and sugar? People hand out candy all the time, right?
Plastic and sugar is the entire basis for
The American economy. Yeah, exactly.
Why not make it obvious?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, and then bake that into the flyer. I think we got some fodder for some really good stuff here, Fawkes. What say you?
Yeah, red pills. I don't know if I'd have Darth Vader passing them out. That's a bit of a mixed message. The makers of The Matrix also made the V for Vendetta film, the Wachowski brothers.
That is super powerful because they will definitely have to weigh in on that, right? They will definitely have to weigh in on multiple levels because of you, Fawkes, because of the red pill. This brings them together.
The red pill serves as a symbol. I don't think there's the sugar or whatever's in it, if there's anything in it at all, has much to do with that. But the symbol itself is potent, and you know, it's one of the most popular films of, you know, the last, you know, decade. Actually, I think it's more than a decade old. But anyway.
Yeah, it's been going on 2 decades really, since The Matrix, and so yeah, the red pill. Say that the red pill is super powerful.
It could just be a red, you know, you have a little baggie with a red pill in there, right? And then like one little maybe 3x5 card, notebook card, with the message on there that essentially says, wake up.
Exactly. Anyway, I just want to be clear that there's really three metaphors to the red pill going on. The red pill itself, choose the red pill reality. The other is sugar and plastic. I'm handing out drugs on Red Square. On Red Square. We even threw communism in there. So it's kind of like, hey ladies, I'm everything you want to tell your kids to stay away from. I'm basically pouring all the gasoline on the barbecue, striking a big match. If this doesn't get their attention, you know what? Maybe I'll go jerk off myself. You know what I'm saying? And just put my head in the sand, or do drugs myself. Or, you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell do we need to get the world up? What's it going to take? We're out of time. Ice-free Arctic this summer, leading to catastrophic, runaway, abrupt climate change. It's that simple. It really happens. When the number of ice in the martini glass shrinks down to nothing, at that moment it's still 0 degrees C. Rapidly warm up from a martini to a hot toddy or whatever. I mean, it's going to be a totally different drink. This is going to be a totally different planet. Wake the hell up, humanity. I'm talking as much to myself as anyone else right now.
And I don't know. You know, I've been pounding the drum for a while. I don't know what it takes to wake people up.
Well, I'm going to hand out drugs on Red Square to kids, okay? I'm going to hand out drugs on Red Square to kids. It's, you know, and if that doesn't get them, the next day I'm going to return to start handing out drugs to kids on Red Square. Really? What's it going to take? I'm going to do whatever the bleep it takes. That's where I'm coming from. We're out of time. Fire drill. What part of fire? It's a real fire. This is not a drill. That's it. This is not a drill. And you know what? I kind of like the fact that I'm getting agitated on our documentary television series here, right? What the hell? What am I waiting for? It's time to get agitated. When there's a fire, yes, we get agitated. So let's get agitated. I hope I'm not being an asshole or something.
Yeah, the First Amendment precludes yelling fire in a theater unless there's actually a fire in the theater.
Right.
And there's a fire in the theater. So we might want to talk about it.
Exactly. Yeah, the die is cast. Red Square, suit and tie, and vocalizing very loud, not muffled with a Darth Vader helmet, but just saying exactly what you just said. The First Amendment precludes yelling fire in a movie theater. Intentional pause. Unless there actually is a fire in the movie theater. Wake up, people. There's a fire in the movie theater of planet Earth.
So this brings up, this could take us down one of 2 roads. So people wake up and they respond. Okay. But, and that's the outcome we're trying to achieve, obviously. But what if they don't? What if it's more of the same as it's been with me for the last many years? Then what? Where does that leave us? What do we do? Do we keep yelling fire in the theater? Do we move on?
Well, here's the deal. At the UW, a couple days ago, 3 days ago now, last time we were there, Wednesday, it was our second day there, and my first day as Darth Vader on the UW campus, and had some really meaningful conversations with a few folks. One was a very bright computer engineering major. And I'm telling you, the look on this guy's face, he never took his eyes off of my eyes, ever. He was right there, and I could tell. You can tell when they're capturing the fire hose, mm-hmm. and not a drop of water is splashing back in your face. He was capturing it all. And he said, I would like to hold this platform. the platform for radical collective intelligence. That's an example of the depth and power of the conversations. A few, maybe 3 or 4 over the course of the day. But that's a lot of big fish in one day. Of, you know, medium-sized fish and small fish that ended up in the net as well. No dolphins, fortunately, which, you know, if one little baggie of red pill doesn't do it, I'll handle a whole freaking 50 pills, right? Or 10, or what, you know, what I'm saying is I'm going to crank up the heat. If I have to break the knob on the stove, crank it even higher, I'll break the knob on the stove. If I need to pour gasoline on the stove. What I'm saying is burning down the house of illusions. Burning down the house.
So, Fawkes, you haven't weighed in much, and if you don't mind, I would like you to wrap the episode by giving us your thoughts, maybe even your overview of the conversation that we have just had.
Of course, I don't know what to do to get, you know, to wake people up, but I think if we're going to, you know, work with what we got and build a movement and fast, or perhaps to accelerate the movements that are already out there. You know, at this point, I think the public is fairly immune to publicity stunts. At this point, I think people generally see these kinds of things, you know, so often, you know, under whatever guise, right? It doesn't have to be, you know, people conflate them. It's like, you know, if somebody sees their message being broadcast, okay, maybe they'll tune in, you know, the message that they're already attuned to. But if not, then it just kind of becomes part of the background noise. And so it seems to me at this point, based upon the work that we've done in the past, based on, you know, what hasn't worked, that I think we need to essentially engage those people who are engaged, and work, you know, have a conversation with those who are eager and willing to talk about it, so that we make, you know, at first it may seem like we're simply preaching to the choir, but I think we need to make the chorus swell, as it were, to such an extent that the message sort of takes on the dimensions or the dynamics of a movement. If not, I don't think that discrete individuals confronted with a doomsday message are going to feel empowered to do much of anything about it. But people often are willing to join various causes that they're in solidarity with if they see what direction it's going in, and they feel like it's a good one that they want to support, one that they want to see move forward. You know, we can say, well, that's been tried before. But I think if we look at the movements of the past that have led to something, one thing or another, we see that generally there has been a movement where momentum has been building until it reaches a certain, you know, critical threshold. So I'm just thinking of what, you know, has worked historically in terms of, you know, movements that actually have changed things, because a lot of things have changed. You know, and as Margaret Mead famously said, nothing but a small group of committed people have managed to change the world, right? Because the movement's got to start somewhere. It's not one guy with a Jesus sign standing on the corner, you know, calling you a sinner. It's these these movements, I think, galvanize a small group of people who get it, right? And then as more and more people become aware, one, that it exists, two, that it's a real threat, you know, a lot of things do change. Now, is climate change the same thing as that? Well, we've talked about the ways in which it is not the same as that, just based upon what's happened, you know, our brains wired to ignore it, whatever. And Guy's had more experience with this probably than with, you know, just about anybody else on the planet, you know, facing this. But I still think that, you know, either building a movement or accelerating one that already exists is our best bet towards, you know, changing things. But I think as far as a fresh take on it goes, it's not necessarily to introduce the information in a new, you know, or even shocking way. I think it may be more that it needs to be wrapped up in something larger, if that's even possible, namely not just fighting climate change. And I think this may be where you've been going, Jamen, as of late, you know, with the criminal drug cartels purging from the state of Washington, but actually realizing that it's a holistic problem whose cause is based in the very mode of production itself, right? The form of economy that has caused so much inequality is also that which is causing an imbalance in you know, the various ecosystems throughout the planet. You know, so I think that those things are linked inevitably, inextricably, and so and there are so many people who are angry because the economy is not working for them. Well, guess what? The economy is not only not working for you, the people, it's not working for the planet.
Yeah, I'd like to terminate this episode, Guy, Fawkes and Jamen, and pick up next time the conversation about and that of other people, those attachments either get in the way or accelerate our understanding, taking on the message in the conversation nobody else wants to have.